GameStop shares go soaring, coronavirus test in your ass, Harriet Tubman on the 20, and so much more on this episode of Monkey Business. Hey, did we ever find a sponsor for all this? Because I'm really not trying to come out of pocket for all this bullshit. Oh, we're live? Alright, it's time for another episode of Monkey Business with your host, myself, Hamid Yaz, and I believe we are on episode number 8. We finally made it over the insurrection of the Capitol episode. We made it past the Tacuache episode, and now things are kind of, hopefully, getting back to normal with President Joe Biden. Of course, President Trump, he's got his impeachment trial coming. And that's actually going to be kind of interesting because he can't hide behind the presidency and say, because he's a sitting president, he cannot be, put on trial in a court of law and whatever. And there's other things going on with him as well. But we finally made it past that. We now have a new president. So let's just all pray to God. Whatever you believe in, whether it's a cow, whether it's Lord Jesus Christ, regardless of what it is that is your God, just pray that everything goes well. Doesn't matter. Just please pray. Or spirituality or whatever these people are these days. I don't even know. So let's get into the news. So number one, GameStop. If y'all haven't been paying attention, especially this past week to GameStop, the stocks have skyrocketed. I believe the middle of January, the stock price was about like $20, $19.50, something like that. And as of, what are we at today? Today is now Thursday. I don't know, the 27, 20, what are we at? 28. Thursday the 28th. So in 8 days, currently, I believe yesterday it was, stocks closed at $347 a piece. Think about it. From $20 to $350 in a matter of 8 days. But why did this happen? A lot of people are totally confused. How did this happen? Wasn't GameStop sinking? Well, there was a guy, Ryan Cohen, who was I believe the CEO of Chewy, it was called. Online pet food type of thing. He had put money in prior. He was basically the one saving GameStop. Like the guy that was saving Sears that had his own hedge funds and all this and that. Well, I can't even remember that guy's name. By the way, Sears just needs to go ahead and just turn itself in. It's been in bankruptcy and been going downhill for the past, 7 years now? And I don't even know how it's still holding on, even with a global pandemic. Sears is basically like that ex-girlfriend that you just cannot, or ex-boyfriend really, that you just cannot get rid of. No matter what you do, no matter how many restraining orders, no matter how many times you change your phone, no matter how many times you move, no matter how many new boyfriends or girlfriends you have, Sears is the one that just lingers around and will not go away. So, Cohen, I believe, recently, for 2020, finally got on the board of GameStop, and of course pumped some money in. The stocks, I think at the lowest, maybe everybody thought GameStop was going under. At the lowest were like $4 a share. He got them, him and his team and his people, these other people coming in, got him to about 20-ish. And then what happened? What has happened in January with GameStop? Well, everybody thought GameStop was doomed, and we're not going to get into a bunch of nerdy stock talk, as we'll call it. We'll just give you the quick overview. Reddit wanted to take over Wall Street. Reddit, the trolls of Reddit, the people that, remember all the people that just sit around on Craigslist and used to troll people on Craigslist? I guess now, obviously Reddit is a huge thing worldwide. So they pretty much finessed Wall Street. They, all the short sellers, they basically said, hey, you know what? We're going to buy the stock that y'all are pumping off. We're going to get it popping. And basically, we could get into the short squeeze and how short selling works, and like you're holding stock and then you kind of give it back. It's a whole game within itself. But bottom line, people through Reddit are the ones that you can applaud for driving up the price of GameStop. Now, how long will it last? Who knows? What do they call it? A rally. They're currently on a rally. But that is something very interesting just to literally watch within the past 8 days, from like $20 to $350. So unfortunately, for some people, that the big hedge fund people that wanted to or thought they were going to make a bunch of money short selling, they actually screwed themselves out of a bunch of money. But it's the power of the internet and how things go, and as well as the power of the internet. I believe I actually said this in a few episodes back. Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow, one of Donald Trump's right-hand men, obviously multi-million-dollar empire. He's worth a couple $100 million. And, sometimes, this is the crazy thing about nowadays, sometimes the CEOs become more popular than the actual brand. You've got, for example, Elon Musk is a good example. Elon Musk could just tweet something and the shares or the stock price goes up like crazy for whatever the product or the service may be. It's really interesting how it works. However, I believe it was during Donald Trump's last week in office, Mike Lindell, he showed up to the White House. They captured images of what he was going to talk about. But according to reports, they kind of bounced him around. The attorney said, yeah, Trump's going to get back with you. But he was saying how China had something to do with the Dominion voting machines and how everything was rigged. And of course, he's got proof on this, proof of that. So he went on this like wild goose chase with information. I don't really know if anybody took him seriously. So now keep in mind, in the United States, there's a democratic process of how things work. Now, of course, we're not going to get into all the detail again of the voter fraud and all this and that. But there was court case after court case after court case that was just getting dropped, because basically the courts were realizing it was basically BS. Well, this guy, the MyPillow CEO, he kept going and going and going and pushing and pushing and pushing. So now, okay, remember I said this prior, they're going to cancel the MyPillow guy. So a list of the corporations that have canceled him and stopped carrying his products. As of right now, you've got H-E-B, huge grocer in Texas. Is it Bed Bath & Beyond? I believe Kohl's. There's another one called The Firm. And there's so many other ones, and then smaller ones as well. But I want you to think about something. Firm, I believe, was one that processes payments. I can't remember. But anyways, a lot of retailers have canceled him because basically the presidency is over and he's still pushing these theories. And I'm not going to say that they're right or wrong. I'm just saying his theories that it was rigged and it was stolen and this. Sometimes as a CEO, of course you can be vocal. Your president, your buddy is a president, but look how it affected his bottom line. Everyone's canceling him. He said it's because of cancel culture. and what's happening is he's losing money. Now I think, was it Dominion wants to put a lawsuit on him like they put on Rudy Giuliani. What is that, 1.3? Now, by the way, if you get sued for $1 billion, it's one thing. If you get sued for, I believe it's like $1.3 billion, okay, now you know it's actually kind of serious. I don't know where they get the 0.3, but they do all of their general counsel, mathematicians do all of this. Hey, don't do 1 billion. That just sounds kind of bullshitty. Do 1.3 billion. So the MyPillow guy is officially getting canceled. And the funny thing about these corporations is another thing. A lot of them say that, hey, the reason why we have to not really cut ties. This is how they work. I love how corporations word all of this. They say, well, we've reassessed our movement and our consumer demand, and what we're going to have to do, your product, there's just no more demand. We're moving things around. But isn't it funny and ironic how all of this happens all within 1 week? All these corporations just start dropping this guy. So, Mike Lindell, I apologize. I mean, hey, you ran with the theory. Obviously, the court of law in the United States and the democratic system that we have, whether it's rigged or not, we really don't know. But we'll just say it's not rigged. Unfortunately, you lost. And your business is tanking. And by the way, this affects a lot of jobs, a lot of families that work for MyPillow. It's American made and such, and unfortunately he kind of screwed himself, we'll say. And another thing, while we're talking about screwing yourself, it might just soon happen. Well, a different kind of screw yourself. So in China, obviously the coronavirus, it's in another wave. We don't even know if this is second wave, third wave, winter wave. I really don't even know what to call it nowadays. But in China, things are ramping back up again for coronavirus. So they have found, and this is no lie, that anal swabs, first they do a test, or they can do one test where they put the cotton swab into your mouth. Then they do another test, which I think they call it the rapid test, which is more accurate, they say, I guess, or faster. I'm not really sure. They put it into your nostril. They put it back in there, kind of like, just would it protrude your nostrils, stick it into your nostrils? And that right there gives a much faster reading. Now in China, they're doing anal swabs, and I'm assuming it's a Q-tip. So imagine you go to a Chinese coronavirus testing site. Could be a drive-through. I don't know if they get their little bicycle. I'm not really sure how it works. And you go into a little room or just right there on the side of the road, and they put a swab into your butthole, and then they pull it out. And imagine how much they're paying for that. Imagine who are the people that are, how do you even post those job postings? I mean, I don't know if they have Indeed, where we're looking for anal swabbers to work on the roadside clinic, and I really don't understand. But according to the Chinese, it's the most effective way of determining whether you have coronavirus now. So if it starts happening in other parts of the world and then it comes to the United States, don't be surprised if that drive-through curbside testing site now has anal swabs where you can roll up, put your butt out the window, and then just have a 21-year-old someone looking for a part-time job that's all dressed up looking like Homer Simpson when he was in the, what do you call it, the I don't even know, what do you call this guy, the chemical compound, I just went blank. You get what I'm saying though. Yeah, radioactive, looking like he's in a radioactive. And isn't it funny, by the way, all of these face masks that everybody sells, they specifically say on the bag or on the box that they're not for disease. They're basically just kind of like cloth. So really, we don't even really have the face masks and the face cloths and all this crap that we have here in America aren't even fighting against a disease. It's literally like just getting a piece of underwear, putting it on your face. And if somebody's in the room and somebody farts and you can smell a fart, you're not going to be able to stop a infectious disease or virus that's killing people left and right, thousands of people by the day in the United States. So you need to do the fart test to determine whether your mask is actually legit or not. Make sure it's an effective mask, just whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, eat a bowl of ice cream, chocolate with the little chocolate chips, chocolate chunks, and just fart. And if you can't smell it, then you're good. Or if you can't smell it, you might already have coronavirus. I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, that's another thing. And speaking of the Chinese and coming to the U.S., actually already here. So shout out to the Chinese for taking over the United States of America. I think they actually own some ports of Long Beach, I believe it is. Our new president, President Joe Biden, no longer the president-elect, he signed an executive order for Buy American. Now, of course, many presidents have been trying to do this, and basically there's a lot of detail to what Buy American actually is. But in a nutshell, what it is, and it might be through like certain agencies first, like I believe the $15 minimum wage went up, but I believe it was for government contractors and such, where nobody can make under $15 an hour. That's being contracted by the government and such. So Buy American is basically saying everything needs to be made in the United States. In a nutshell, in theory, that's basically what it is. Make it here, buy it here. But however, we do have sometimes where, or actually a lot of times, happens daily, where things are made in other parts of the country, then they're brought over here, and then they're assembled in America. So you might have something that says assembled in the United States of America, but what they're not telling you is that many of all the parts come from China, come from India, come from Taiwan. Now, keep in mind, when things like this happen, you of course have different countries have different standards for treating their employees. I mean, you might have kids that are 10 years old working. I mean, I personally don't know, depending on the country, what their laws are, labor laws and such. But also, you got to think about it. Are their factories at the same standard as U.S. factories? We truly don't know. Of course, companies, once they get busted, corporations get busted, like, oh, we're looking into it and we shut down this operation because they were doing something that we weren't supposed to be doing, and so on. So, could it be good for America? Yes, it could be very good for America for the Buy American executive order to hit scale. However, what Americans don't realize is one of the reasons why we can get goods for so cheap is also because of the fact that they are so cheap to produce and then bring over elsewhere. If you raise the minimum wage to $15, and we're already having a hard time paying people to be able to produce stuff in America and keep it at a reasonable rate, imagine when everything goes up to $15 an hour at scale. So now the American-made, I don't know, it could be a bicycle that you get for $99 somewhere. That $99 bicycle might end up being $200, $250 now. So in theory, it sounds great, but there's a lot more behind the scenes that you have to look at. And another thing that you might be looking at sooner than later is Harriet Tubman taking over the $20 bill from Andrew Jackson. Now, I know it came up during the Trump presidency, and I believe it was Mnuchin. Mnuchin said, well, the reason we have to wait, I don't know what he was talking about, 9 more years, 10 years, or 8 years, that it could actually take place is because of the fact that it was security measures, because of the way the bills are made, that it would be a totally different process to just change it up all of a sudden. It would take so many years to do. Joe Biden now is pushing for Harriet Tubman to replace Andrew Jackson, which of course he's a notorious, or was he, I'm sorry, is. He was not at the Capitol riots storming. You didn't see Andrew Jackson. That was probably Andrew Jones, whoever that is. And by the way, speaking of Jones, whatever happened to Mike Jones? Not Mike Jones, the rapper. ¿Cómo se llama este güey? Pinche Alex Jones. Alex Jones has taken credit for, this is kind of going back a few weeks. He took credit for funding part of it, part of the Capitol riot and the mass protests and such. But Alex Jones has money coming in from all over. We don't really know who his donors are. I don't think he really wants to say. And I know he for years has been talking about the dark money that the government, right, the dark money, and where does the money go? But Alex Jones also has money coming in that we don't know where it comes from. Is he working with George Soros? We don't know. We don't know the truth. But what I love about Alex Jones is, and just a quick little story, because Alex Jones is from Austin, as myself. This was 2001, maybe 2002. I'm sitting at a stoplight with my friend Carlos, right? Where is it? Manchaca and William Cannon. At the time, it used to be a Hobby Lobby. I believe it was a Hobby Lobby there. Now it's like a Sprouts. There's a Shortstop on the right side. By the way, if you ever eaten at Shortstop in Austin, you already know that those are like some ghetto burgers. Looks like somebody sat on the burger and then gave it to you. So really good burgers, by the super soggy fries. Awesome burgers and fries. Too bad the special isn't $3.99 anymore. It went up. Well, welcome to inflation. Anyways, we're sitting at the stoplight, and we have this crazy white man walk up to us. Actually, he's screaming already. Now, keep in mind, this is literally like exactly 20 years ago. He's literally screaming at us. We're just like, what? He's like, hey, you know that we're living in a police state, and we have this. And we're like, who the hell is this guy? We just are waiting at the stoplight. The police state, and they're looking at you, and you're under surveillance, 24-hour surveillance. And we look up, and they had just installed some cameras at the stoplight. Pretty crazy, which, by the way, Alex Jones used to live in keep in mind, this is 20 years ago, before he was a huge national, I don't want to say icon, but a national figure. He was living in the apartments behind Hobby Lobby on Manchaca and William Cannon here in Austin, Texas, South Austin. And I know this because he told us, where do you live? He said, I live right here in these apartments. I'm like, okay. So that was his rags to riches story right there. But yeah, it would be nice for Harriet Tubman, because she is an iconic figure herself, that had freed many slaves and basically played a vital role in that. She put others' lives before hers. A very brave woman, and I think it is time in American history that we do change up some of these bills, which, by the way, eventually crypto is going to take over everything. We're going to have implants in our, I don't know, forehead, in our arms, wherever. Our money's going to be like that. We're just going to kind of scan something, and it's going to take out of our bank account from Bitcoin or Ethereum or wherever it is. So, hope you enjoy the show. A few business headlines. Monkey Business. Watch the other episodes. Hamid Yaz. Have you subscribed yet? Probably not. Quit being a hater. If you watched it this far, you should watch some more content. Hamid Yaz, IG, and everywhere else you can find me on the internet.